All right, let's set the scene. You've got a junior developer, Timothy, who's stuck on a nasty performance bug. He heads over to his senior mentor, Margaret, for some advice. Now, he's actually feeling kind of proud of himself. He's already drafted a prompt for his AI coding assistant. He thinks he's given it a great starting point. Oh, but he's about to learn a lesson he won't forget.
So this is it. This is the prompt. I mean, on the surface, it seems okay, right? It's short, to the point, but Margaret sees right through it. This prompt isn't just simple, it's practically useless. It's so vague that any AI is just going to spit out generic, unhelpful suggestions. It's a complete dead end.
And that's the exact question Margaret asks Timothy. It really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. Why is a request that seems so clear actually so broken? Well, the answer shows you a fundamental truth about working with AI. The quality of what you get out is 100% dependent on the quality of what you put in.
So, to show him what's missing, Margaret starts this sort of friendly interrogation. She knows the AI isn't a mind reader, right? So she has to start pulling out all these critical details that are stuck in Timothy's head, details he never thought to write down. And this is where his vague idea finally starts turning into a real, solvable problem. First question, the absolute basics. What even is this pipeline? I mean, the AI has no clue. Is it crunching numbers for finance? Processing video files? Sorting images? You have to start with the most basic context, or you're just lost from the get-go.
Okay, so it's processing customer transactions, it reads from a database, does some business logic stuff, and then writes everything out to a reporting table. Good. That's the first piece of the puzzle. The AI was totally blind to this before. It's a start, but as Margaret knows, they're not even close to done.
Margaret's next question, and this one is a biggie. It's all about scale. Think about it. Fixing a performance problem for 1,000 records versus 1,000,000 records. Those are two completely different universes. The scale of the problem changes everything about how you'd even begin to solve it.
4 million. Wow. See? That one number completely changes the game. This isn't just some minor lag we're talking about. This is a massive batch job that's completely falling over. And this absolutely critical piece of information was nowhere to be found in that first prompt. And this is where it gets really juicy, the timeline. Problems like this don't just happen randomly. Margaret coaxes out the history, and suddenly a prime suspect appears. The whole issue started right after a new validation step was added to the code. That's not just a clue, that's practically a smoking gun.
So here's the diagnosis. Timothy didn't actually give the AI a problem to solve. He gave it a vague wish. He left out the what, the how many, and the when. Without context, without any constraints, and with no idea what fixed even looks like, the AI was basically set up to fail from the very beginning.
But Margaret doesn't just point out what's wrong, right? She gives him a solution. It's a simple, repeatable framework for how to think through a problem before you even type a single word of your prompt. It's brilliant. She calls it the 4 questions.
It all boils down to these 4 things. First up, what's the context? You know, the programming language, the system, the scale. Second, what's the specific problem? We're talking hard numbers, timelines, not just it's slow. Third, and this is huge, what have you already tried? You gotta share what didn't work. And finally, what does a good solution look like? You have to define success. Are there any rules or limitations? So, armed with his new way of thinking, Timothy gives it another shot. And you'll see, this isn't about just making the prompt longer for the sake of it. It's about making it smarter. It's about taking all that knowledge that was in his head and putting it down on paper. Let's check out the rewrite.
Man, the difference is just night and day, isn't it? Look at that professional prompt on the right. It tells you the goal, the context, Python, 4 million records, and the specific problem. It's timing out after 3 hours. It even offers up a theory, a hypothesis about a query in a loop, and it gives a clear constraint: don't mess with the output format. Now the AI has everything it needs to actually be a helpful partner.
This is such a great point from Margaret. When Timothy mentioned he suspected a query inside a loop, he wasn't tying the AI's hands. He was giving it a gift, a huge head start. It's like giving it a treasure map and saying, hey, I think the gold is buried right here. You're focusing its incredible power right where it's needed most.
And here's her last little pro tip before hitting send. Read your prompt out loud. I know, it sounds kind of silly, but it is a game changer. The second Timothy does this, he catches some clunky phrasing and realizes he forgot one tiny detail. It's like a final quality check that forces you to be clear.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second, because this whole story gets at a much bigger idea. This isn't just a list of tips for writing better prompts. It's really about a fundamental shift in how we should be thinking about these incredibly powerful AI tools.
You hear this question all the time. Should my prompt be longer? And the answer is, that's the wrong question. The goal isn't length, it's precision. You want to give the AI exactly what it needs to help you, no more and no less. Timothy's second prompt was longer, sure, but only because his first one was missing a ton of essential info. Precision is the real goal here.
And if there's one thing you take away from this, let it be this. If you're struggling to write a good prompt, the problem probably isn't the AI. It's the clarity of your own thinking. A prompt is just a mirror. If your thoughts are messy and vague, your prompt will be messy and vague, and the results, well, they'll be useless.
And this last piece of wisdom from Margaret just nails it. We tend to think of writing the prompt as the start of the project, but that's backwards. The prompt shouldn't be the starting gun. It should be the victory lap of your thinking process. It's the final result of you doing the hard work of understanding the context, defining the problem, and mapping out a solution. So I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time you sit down to ask an AI for help, or even a coworker, ask yourself this question first. Is this prompt the beginning of my work, or is it the end of my thinking? Because getting that right, well, that's the difference between frustration and a breakthrough.